Welcome back to episode
8, 9, 10. Yes,
something like
sir.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
whatever. Of the White Line podcast. So today's topic, me and Niall were just talking, and we were talking about the 48 laws of power. And the number one lesson that I took from that book is, I don't want to butcher it because I don't know it line for line, but I believe it's never let your master know that you're better than them.
Yes,
And
Lord. Preach.
so that's today's topic. You were saying you had some examples of that.
Yeah, oh man, I have tons of examples, especially with my business ventures and everything like that, because it always benefits you to play the part of a small fry, if that makes sense. You know, so a sort of I have a couple different mentors or whatever. But there are a couple in particular that play this role of this like kind of big honcho, like they make tons of money and they do this and that and they have like absolute crazy motion, or people I'll talk about with real estate and they'll be explaining things to me that I already know like from years ago, and they just like kind of are reiterating the same things, and I'm like, oh yeah, like okay, well tell me more about it, right? And I have this one mentor in particular who I always find it confusing because I try to get a gauge on, um, how successful he actually is, because he's one of those people that have access and connections to people with actual motion, like people with real estate, people with
Hmm.
like fancy cars and stuff like that. But his own personal life, there's not much I can see that's actually his,
He might be like a fake it till you make it type of guy.
Exactly, but he's really good at it. Like he pulls up in his, friend's fancy car, and he's always at these fancy sort of locations,
Hmm.
and he'll say that he's a part of it or he owns it, and I'm just like, you don't really move like you own it, and you
Yeah,
don't say it. Hmm?
I was gonna be like, take your hat off, you're capping.
Exactly, like
Yeah,
he I could tell that he doesn't say it in front of the actual like owners of the establishment, because they would like kind of call him out and be like, yeah, bullshit, like
yeah.
this is my shit. So um you know with that being said, I never interrupt him and I never try to pry too much, because nonetheless, no matter what, he still is going to provide value to me, because he also has to uphold an image, right? He has to uphold an image of being this guy that can do this and that and make stuff shake or whatever. And if I were to disrupt that by trying to be like, do you actually have motion? Or, are you actually an owner in this? Or, can you show me this amount that you have in cash that you say you have, and if I were to do that, then he would, one, feel like ashamed or feel embarrassed, and then will probably cease contact to stop the embarrassment from progressing further. And plus, even currently, even though he might not have big motion, he gets me access to the people that actually have motion.
Hmm.
Like there are businesses that I've worked with through him, and he might not have the actual motion, but they do, and they pay me my rate, and they give me access to even more motion. But if I were to just kind of press him and be like, what do you actually have, then I'd be cutting that off and not allowing myself to progress and get in his circle of people that he actually knows.
What I found too, a lot of these people, when you have to like feed their ego,
Hmm.
because if you feed their ego, then they're like, oh yeah, I am the shit. Let me tell you more than I know, and they'll
Yeah.
just start giving you game. But if they're giving you game and they see that you're using it, like never go up to him and be like, yo, that piece of advice you told me, I just booked this, this, and this. And then he's like, oh shit. Because what happens is they start to feel threatened because at the end of the day, it's all competitive.
Hmm.
So if your master starts to feel threatened by you, he's going to start giving you false information or just withhold it altogether.
Yeah. 100%.
They do that because it's all competition. Like if you get too good, you're his competition.
Yeah. And honestly, with that, you have to almost like you said, feed their ego in a way where it's like there's another person of mine that will give me a little bit of game on something, and I'll use it, and sometimes it'll really work, but I won't say how much it actually worked. Like I won't say the extent. I won't be like, yeah, this person paid me 2 grand, because then they'd look at me and be like, what? Like you actually? Instead, I'm like, yo, man, I got like my first gig through this. Like I really appreciate you doing that. Like
Yeah.
it's not much, but it was able to work, and like if I keep going with it and I keep using your tactic, then I'll probably get somewhere big when I might have already achieved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, especially in business, they provide value to customers. They're just valuable people to have around because they have a skill and they could sell it, but then they also get off on teaching people the skill because they're like, this is my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they see that you're better than them, never again.
Yeah. Yeah. Never
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Never again. And sometimes it's funny because sometimes I'll think about will I like be the same way when I give game? Because when we talk, or when we if you remember, like right after high school or so, um there were a couple people that we tried to like put on game, like with getting girls and everything like that, and like whether it
Bro,
worked. What?
the thing is, that's like a scarcity mindset.
Hmm.
Like once you're afraid to start putting people on game, you've already fucking lost. It's like once you're afraid you're gonna lose a girl, you basically lost her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Exactly.
never be afraid to put people on game because at the end of the day, you know how many people Floyd Mayweather has taught how to box? Are any of them Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah. Nah. No.
You can't fear telling people shit. And it says a lot too, like, because I'm aware of that. So when I see people who are afraid to, like, when I box, right?
Hmm.
Someone might fuck me up in sparring. I could tell someone's a great boxer because they'll tell me exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And they could fight me again and it'll still work because they're that good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if someone is gatekeeping the fucking information, it's because they don't have much left in the arsenal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really what it is.
True.
So I never be afraid to fucking give out game because, like, no spiritual weird shit, you know what I mean? But the universe is abundant
Hmm.
and there's unlimited opportunities out here. Once you start getting into that scarcity mindset and being like, I can't let anyone else eat but me, you're going to fall because you need people around you. And people are going to remember. You're going to give people game. They might be fucking awful people. They might use it against you. But then there's going to be the other half where you're going to give them game. They're going to become successful people and they're always going to turn around and have your back because they're like, you gain nothing from telling me how to do this shit and you still
Hmm.
did it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. No, yeah, yeah. You definitely got a point there. I mean, yeah, bro. I think the way that I think about it when it comes to like, giving people the information, because there's not really much that I gatekeep, unless it's something that I'm still working out. Like, I find a new strategy to obtain a client and I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I'm not gonna say it right now because I
mhm.
haven't even come up off of it yet, But with like, giving game, I feel like I don't really feel too fearful of giving most things out, just because one, I kind of have that confidence where it's like I'm always going to be better than you either way, whether I give you everything. Yeah, you can
Exactly.
never be the original. You're always going to be second place to it. So it's like every time that I give somebody game, I'll give them full blueprint, and I just know you're never gonna be able to do what I do. Like I'm me, so whatever I give you, the blueprint that I give you is just gonna be a shittier version of my blueprint or of my success. you
which
know?
is literally the last episode of our podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll never be like, you can learn as much as you want. You can't copy somebody else's blueprint
Mhm.
because you'll never be them.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about like shit that I do. I could show you, but also look at all the information that's out there today. Why isn't everyone a millionaire? Like, including me. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? There is information out there to make me a millionaire tomorrow. Nobody's, like, it's out there. We all know
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
We
it's
kind of
facts.
know how this shit works. It's fucking hard work and it takes a while. How many people are realistically going to sit through that shit? How many people are going to listen to their, master and genuinely do the steps that it takes?
Mhm.
And usually the master knows that, so he's just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But that's why you can't let him know you're better. Because if he's like, wait, this is momentum, this kid's like not fucking around right now, then you're a threat.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. No, yeah. 100%. Um you said something I was gonna, expand on. I forget though.
Um,
What did you just say?
Crickets. Uh, just like if your master knows you're better than them, you're a threat. About like having an abundance of knowledge, but not actually using it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. So just something that I really wanted to touch upon about that is I think with all the information that's out there, one, it's like too much at once, right? Like you gotta have an immense amount of focus to achieve any type of success. If you're too widespread, then you're really gonna get nowhere in all a bajillion that you're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
Um, but with like the whole online thing versus having an actual mentor, you have no clue what is making any impact, because you could be doing something for 10 months, right? And Alex Hormozy has said this where it was like you were doing the right thing, you just didn't do it enough, right? He gives like this example of like a story that he told where he was like, yeah, somebody said to, for his marketing,
I already know
the,
what you're gonna say.
yeah, to do the
Reach
test
out to
sample. Yeah,
like,
yeah, do the test sample. It was like 300 flyers that he passed out. And then when he told them, he was like, so what was your sample size? And he was like 300. And he was like, my sample size is like 3,000. And then the actual thing is like 10,000 every day. So it's like you might have been doing the right thing. You just didn't know that it was the right thing because you're expecting the results to come overnight.
I
And I just,
completely forgot about. I've
yeah,
listened to that, and it's so
yeah.
true. Yeah.
100%, 100%. And so, at least with like having a mentor or whatever, and maintaining that relationship by also staying low key, is it's a lot easier to just get the information that you need because they're gonna tell you, look, this is gonna be a slow burn. When you're hearing it from an online dude, you're just kind of like, fuck off. But like when you have somebody in front of you saying, look, this is gonna take an immense amount of time for you to get from this point to this point. Like you just have to stick with it. Like just do this and stick with it. It'll work because you have a person in front of you that is a testimony. And,
Right.
and you kind of gotta follow that testimony. And it's a lot harder to do that online. Everything is fabricated and some things are true. You just don't know what to believe.
I've also found too, older people are much more willing to share with you important shit like that
Hmm.
because they've already made it. Like if you're all right, so I'm a personal trainer. A guy in his 30s is way less prone to give me game than a guy who's like 60 and has been doing it for years and is already established and like about to retire.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just because there's no pressure anymore. It's like, oh, I remember when I was your age and I was fucking, running around like a chicken with his head cut off. But the guy who's 30 is like, you're not that far from me. And if I give you people, this is like the issue. Time is pressure for so many people. When guys who took a while to kind of get the ball rolling and had so much trial and error, because those are the guys that usually make it. Like the people who make it through the trial and error stage, which could be like fucking 10 years, like started when I was 20. I didn't really succeed till I was 30. But then they turn around when they finally made it and found the formula. They say to themselves, fuck, I could have did this shit in 2 years and it took me 10.
Yeah.
So their fear is someone does the exact same thing that they should have done at our age and beat them by the time they're 25.
Yeah.
And that's why people fucking gatekeep information.
Yeah. And another thing about that is that the older guys, they'll almost seek out to give information to people. Like they won't even like wait for somebody to ask them. I mean, honestly, if we're being real, young people don't really ask old people for advice. We always think like, oh, that's bullshit. Like your time is so different. Like when in reality, like it's the same fucking thing over and over again. You know, not much
Basically.
changes other than a little bit of social media, but it's the same concept like for the fucking as long as time has been around, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of young guys, they don't really seek out old people advice just because they think it's outdated or whatever. But
Including me. I'm one
yeah,
of them.
me too, me too. But like old people, they'll seek out trying to give you advice because one, you shouldn't. I personally believe that you shouldn't die with you shouldn't die hoarding everything that you have,
Yes.
like your knowledge, your wealth, whatever it is. Like you should pass it on to the next, right?
Yeah.
You're selfish if you just hold on to it. So I feel like a lot of men or a lot of older individuals, they want to pass on that knowledge that they gained over time, and then it's going to expedite you much further if you just take the time to listen to them also.
It's because like life comes in cycles. Um Older people, once you get to your like elder phase of life, you're no longer building anything. You have grandkids and you don't have to raise kids anymore. You don't have to like really be an example. So all your job is just observe and spread knowledge and then you die.
Yeah.
But this is why I'll never hoard information. I could be in my fucking elder phase tomorrow and drop dead. You know what I mean? Like why am I hoarding information when like I'm not promised to live next week?
Yeah,
Because if
exactly.
I knew I was going to die next week, I'd fucking tell people everything, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if I'm going to go to the grave not saying my fucking truth. So just say it. Like, if you think it's going to help someone, they could die tomorrow too. I could tell someone, like, fucking great information, and then they're like, oh my God, I'm going to use it. They could start using it, drop dead. There goes my competition, you know?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Who get like all this shit's fucking temporary. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Yeah, I it's so interesting how fearful people are. It's kind of like it's kind of like those I think you said that you had one while you were working at that last job. People that tell on, motherfuckers just to tell on them. Like
Yeah,
they're just afraid
yeah.
of somebody, being better or somebody taking their position. Like they're always just in like this fucking fear mindset and fucking fight or flight and fucking just you know?
I think it's really important for. I don't think I know. It is important for everyone to realize the intensity of life and like how fucking real death is and how brutal death is, like what it looks like when someone takes their fucking last breath. People need to understand that because, especially in the US, we live in such a bubble where we're so caught up in our fucking like, in just the rat race, like our, uh, interactions with people, like our jobs, our fucking coworkers, these are all people that are going to drop dead, and a whole new group of people are going to come in after you, and nobody's going to think of you.
100%.
If people thought about death more often, and not in a bad light, because death is not a bad thing. It's just a thing, just as life is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a thing. People would be a lot more detached from shit like that.
Yeah.
That's fucking life is intense. Like, there's wars. Like, people are getting their fucking heads cut off as we speak right now. There is someone getting beheaded
Yeah.
while I'm making this podcast. I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall right now, but it's the truth. And like, there are people afraid to tell you how they made money in their business. Like, bro, someone is trying not to die right now.
Yo, I know this is like kind of a side topic really quick, but that's like kind of something that I say to my girl a lot, where it's like she'll ask me, like, it's okay to be upset about something, or it's this and that, and I'm like, there's literally a kid getting his head blown off in Gaza right now. And she's like, yeah, but you can like feel, and I'm like, it's not that important. Like, she'll just like think that something should be more important to me, and I'm just like, there are so many bigger problems right now. This
Bro,
little thing is so irrelevant in the grand scheme of everything.
thank you.
Yeah.
Bro, literally, like, I was getting my fucking ass beat today when I was boxing. I have this thing, right? I'm so detached. I don't care what happens to me. As long as I know I'm not gonna die, like, I have no fear in my heart.
Damn,
Because
that's crazy.
I'm gonna drop dead in a boxing ring? Like, no, I'm wearing fucking headgear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get fucked up. My nose is gonna bleed, and then I'm gonna go on about my day and live my fucking life. There are people in like real life or death situations that wish all they had to do was last 5 rounds punching someone in the face.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't care. Like, if I go through hard training or some shit, and this is why doing difficult shit is so important, because doing really difficult shit makes other people's difficult shit look like fucking pussy work.
Yeah.
Like, even going to the gym now, it's so easy. It's just base level.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I put in headphones. Okay, I just have to make it through 30 seconds of this set. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, rack, I get to sit here for 3 minutes and then go again. I am very aware of how intense life really is. And if you also can't handle being in a controlled environment and getting hit, what's going to happen to you when you're in the street and someone's mauling your fucking face with their friends, you know?
Yeah.
Life is so intense, and people like just don't understand. Which also, and I know I'm going on a fucking tangent right now, but I'm just so passionate about this shit. I never run my mouth in public. Ever.
What do you mean?
And it's the, like, I will let someone walk away if they say some crazy shit to me, because I just don't care that much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I deal with customers and shit all day. People say shit, and I'm just like, I would fucking kill you, but like, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
The only people who act like that, a rare percentage, are just people that are dangerous, but they're just fucking bullies. Very rare percentage. But the 90% are just people that really think they're that protected, because they don't know what the real world is like outside of the US bubble. Go to Saudi Arabia and try to spit in someone's face, they're gonna fucking stone you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the cops aren't gonna fucking save you. It's just so crazy. Like, that's why I understand what violence really looks like. Like, people think violence is like, oh, they got in a fight, she pulled her hair, and then, like, no, violence is you're asleep and someone's elbowing you in the fucking jaw till you can't move, and your wife and kids are watching. That's violence.
Yeah.
Violence is someone beating your knees with a fucking crowbar. you know? And it's just the comfortability of people to like think the way they do and act the way they do in their bubble is out of this fucking world.
I 100% agree. I feel that way really heavily, especially like right now about like all the people, federal workers that are getting laid off and everything like that. I'm seeing a lot of videos of people complaining and being like, they're getting rid of my job because of DEI and this and that, and they're like whining and stuff like that. And I'm like, one, you can find another job, and two, there are people like on the fucking street in your country and outside of your country. And
Mm-hmm.
being homeless outside of this country is even worse. Like, we complain about such little stuff. Like, I might complain about, like I feel broke right now, but my broke is like, okay, I still got a roof over my head. I still can like, eat some ramen. I could, take the bus or whatever to get from point A
Yeah.
to point B. But this motherfucker has to walk 12 fucking miles just to get some fucking water or whatever in some random ass country. Or this person has to fucking fight off pirates and killing some Somalian niggas or whatever that are
Yeah.
just like wild. Like, that's a real reality for people on a daily basis. And I get to worry about, I have to eat ramen again, or I gotta like eat just eggs, like hard boiled eggs today. Like, that's a privilege, bro.
Yeah. It is a privilege. And you know what's even a better privilege? To be able to witness the difficulties and go through some pretty intense difficulties, but then come back to shelter and just be aware of it. For example, like, it's a privilege to be able to tour a fucking awful place. Like, if you went to like Haiti
Mm-hmm.
and you saw how they live, and then you're able to take a flight back to the US and just continue your life after that, that's a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people like don't make it out of places like that.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be able to learn how to learn combat in a controlled environment and then come back to shelter and be like, now I know what it's like to like get hit and shit like that. That's a privilege. Because in other places, the way they learn combat is life or death. They don't get a fucking lesson. They get beat in the face, and if they die, that's it. And if they live, then I guess they learned,
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's so interesting being in this country because like I just watch these, I'll say like liberals just complain all day, and I'm just like, dude, like this is literally the greatest country in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
You are protected by, you're protected geographically. You're protected by our military. Like, you literally have, a president or what an administration that is trying so hard just to, get rid of
The food.
the immigration problem, the
Oh,
food problem.
yeah.
And when I say immigration, I'm more so just talking about like, bringing over the drugs and like, that kind of stuff.
Illegals. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you have an administration that's going so crazy hard just to protect you, and like you're sitting here complaining about it. It's like, dude, like this is like they're doing this for you. Like, they don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
you're in my opinion, you're your parents' responsibility up until you're an adult. Your government doesn't really or shouldn't have to do much of anything for you. It's a privilege to have an entire fucking organization look after you and look after your cybersecurity and look after your fucking national security, your physical security. And you have all these government programs that are going to protect you from this point until you're dead. You got social security, you got, welfare, you got every fucking thing you could imagine. So like,
Yeah.
complaining about what? Like, your life
Now,
is good.
on the other note, I don't trust the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think politicians, 99% of them are actually just awful human beings.
1000%, yeah.
But yeah, where else do you want to go live? You want to go live in fucking Canada? It's like damn near communist right now. Everyone's a liberal. They think this is bad.
No, yeah. I wouldn't even go to Canada.
Fuck that. We're gonna make it the 51st state. Watch.
Uh-huh.
It's like, where else do you want to go?
I would
But holy
say
fuck,
what?
that was so like we were just talking about like
I know,
not
right?
letting your master. No, fuck, bit my tongue. God damn it, this fucking cough drop. Not letting your master know you're better than them, and now I'm talking about America.
Yeah, America.
But it's crazy how it's like peeling back the layers. That's why people can't handle you being better than them.
Yeah,
It's like mortality. It's the fucking weirdest thing ever.
it really is. Yeah.
It's time. Like it's and you don't it's not even guaranteed.
My question is like, where does that come from? Like, where does this like fucking almost doomsday mindset come from? Like, why is everybody so like on the defense with everything? You know, like nobody's ever playing offense. Like everybody's always like, let me try to get this person fired so they don't take my job, or let me, like,
It's because I'm in the corporate world. It's because the system is made to like make you weak.
mm-hmm,
You know, everyone is kissing ass to corporate. It's just like a trail of people kissing ass. Like everyone's afraid of that. And it's always like this is what it is though, because at the end of the day, like it's all survival. If you don't work, you can't feed your family and you will go homeless and die and your fucking kids will starve.
yeah,
Everyone's afraid of the CEO. Management is afraid of whoever's above them.
mm-hmm,
You're afraid of management. Your coworkers below you are afraid of you. It's just like your fate is being held in everyone else's hands but your own. And that's the corporate world. But even in business, your fate is being held in the customer's hands. You think you work for yourself. You really don't.
mm-hmm,
Whoever your audience is, that's whose fate, that's how your fate is being held. It's like, if they don't buy from me, I don't eat.
yeah,
People get afraid. And I understand. I just don't really give a fuck. You know?
yeah,
Um, so I think it's all from a survivalist standpoint. A lot of it is also ego. Um, I don't think I know people don't like when other people are better than them,
mm-hmm,
which I'm a little competitive. I get it, but I'm not petty. You
yeah,
know, if someone's better than me, I'm like, he's better than me. Like, good. You know, there are a lot of people that are better than me, and I will gladly tell them, be like, you got it. You know,
yeah. It's crazy because as I've gotten older, I've moved away from being jealous or envious, and I feel like I should be better to like, yo, that's like some cool shit that guy did,
yeah,
like, and it's really weird to like detach from my ego like that, because I was just telling you a couple weeks back how all like the self-improvement and books that we read, like how it's like just shaped who we are, and how like almost passively it still affects us when we're not like doing
it's.
routine
I'm giving my kids the books I've read
Mhm.
because I think if I never read it back then and I started reading it now, it wouldn't have the effect that it had on me. But because my brain was in such a developmental phase that it just altered it. So
Yeah,
when I was an adult, it was like so fucking intense.
yeah,
It's just hard though, because bro, I remember reading and this shit was like shocking information.
Mhm.
And now I read and I'm like, I knew
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I like hate to like not be a student anymore,
Mhm.
but it's just like the value that a lot of books are giving me are not worth the time it takes me to read it.
Yeah,
I used to get value out of every single page when I used to read. I learned something. And even if I didn't learn something, it was like a touch up from another book. And I was like, now I understand this concept better.
Mhm.
But now I'm like, I could read a 400-page book and really get a new lesson out of 15 pages,
Yeah.
you know?
No,
So
yeah, for sure, for sure.
that was a
Yeah,
fun time in life, though.
it really was. I mean, like for me, like I really feel like you know, I think my father somewhat tried to teach certain lessons. He just really didn't know how to communicate, much of it. And a lot of it also is like he's not the smartest guy. He's not stupid. He's very smart, but like, he's just a nigga, he's like he's a hood, he used to sell,
Yeah.
drugs like as a kid, so like he's just that. So all his advice is kind of like geared towards that, like, focus on money and then bitches will follow, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that's kind of the principle and topics that they talk about in like some of these books at least. It's just that it's the delivery and the explanation behind it, like, why is it that you have to have emotional control, or like, why is it that you need to become the best man possible to attract the best woman that you're looking for, or why is it that you're the prize, or why is it that none of these bitches are special, like, they all suck
Your
the same.
dad was probably always like that.
Mhm,
Like, he probably grew up around some like hard motherfuckers, and it was just kind of just what he saw, and he
mhm,
probably doesn't have an explanation.
yeah.
Like, I don't think he could really give you like a solid explanation. Just be like, he'll say some shit like, if you treat her like dirt, she'll stick like mud.
Yo, he didn't say
Why?
that exactly, but like he would say shit like that. He would say you guys treat us shitty, like,
And then you'll be like, why? You'll be like, that's how it is.
yeah.
It's like like some people just don't have an explanation because they grew up around it. And I've always envied, not like envied, but like I always wanted to know what that felt like.
Hmm.
Because I didn't get to grow up around like guys. I grew up in a household of fucking women,
Yeah.
and like they're all mad soft and like pretty retarded.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just like I used to watch people grow up with their dads, and it was like hardcore shit, like, oh yeah, I took my son to football, whatever, like shit like that. I like never had that, so I had to
Hmm.
learn it from books,
Hmm.
which I think I turned out better because I learned it from books, because everyone has flawed parents.
Hmm.
Not to say I'm not flawed, but like usually the books aren't that flawed.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess it's a privilege, but like sometimes I just miss that like masculine camaraderie, if that makes sense.
Y- I I get it. Um, I get it. Here's the thing, right? Like any type of relationship, or you know those types of moments that I had with my father were before I even entered like high school, or even like middle school,
Mhm.
and even at that point I was the son that wouldn't want to hear anything about girls or about women, because like up until maybe I was even like 11, 12, I used to want my parents to get back together, even though they divorced when I was 4 years old. I don't even have a recollection of them ever being together, but like I would literally cry about it and be like, why can't you guys get back together? And I didn't realize, my dad cheated on my mom, and of course my mom's not gonna take him back, right?
Mhm.
Um, so like, I would never want to hear anything about girls, because I'm like, you cheated on my mom, or like, fucking I never want to.
You don't know shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know shit. Like you're just a man slut that sleeps around or whatever. And you know, my brother, he would absorb the information like no other. Like he would like actively ask him questions and shit. And I would always leave the room and never hear anything about it. So I never wanted to seek that, I guess, just because he wasn't exactly an idol that I wanted to be in that regard. There were some other things, maybe like fucking how to get jacked. Like, he would he taught me this trick where it was like, you take a deck of cards and then you fucking
Drop
yeah,
52 push-ups. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
like
that's real old head activity, bro. That's like
exactly,
hood rat workouts.
exactly. But like that's like
Yeah.
those are the lessons that he would like kind of teach me, like, that I would absorb, and I would be like, okay, yeah, I would do that. And then I would like just be in my room doing like, aces 15, I'm gonna hit 15 real, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But like the other things where I thought that he was probably a poor example in, so women, family, and different things like that, like I really wouldn't even entertain the conversation at all. Like I would just kind of just like blow him off, like, yeah, whatever, nigga.
Yeah.
So I can't really relate that much to wanting that, sort of male guidance, just because, I was just like, this nigga's a hood nigga. I don't want to be like
Don't you wish though, like knowing what you know now, you can go back and like listen to your dad talk about it?
that. um
I think it would be a much more enjoyable experience because you understand like what he's saying, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's not like, no, I don't think I would want to. I mean, I really like who I am now, and I feel like
Mhm.
if I did do that, I would be different. I really wouldn't try to change anything in my past, or do anything that would change who I
Yeah,
am today, because bro, I fucking love life right now. So I'm like, I wouldn't change a fucking
me
thing.
too. Yeah,
Yeah. But
I get that.
I think if I did listen to him, sure, I might have more success, like as, you know, uh a kid, or like
No,
a
so
teen.
I'm not really like saying that. I'm saying like if like you right now could go back in time and just like talk to your dad about it,
Hmm.
you know, like the combos you guys had, like with the awareness that you have now, like it would be funny to hear your dad be like, that's actually true, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
like that would
It would be
I
funny. Yeah.
because it happens to me too. Like sometimes I'll listen to my dad and I'll just be like, yeah, like you were right. Like that is how that works. And I was fucking young and I had no idea, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It definitely would be funny to hear him say it. I'd also just be like, you are the exact same person, like within the next like 20 years. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't change. I was actually talking to my mom about it the other day. I was like, yo, like my dad is really just like a hood nigga, like at heart. Like that's just who he is, and he
Hmm.
hasn't really changed. Like, if you don't know, down in Alabama, I pretty much lived in like a trap house, like my fucking bed I built out of fucking pallets that we found in the garbage, broken windows, rodents, mice, all that kind of stuff, subflooring still down, cracked foundation. Like it was like literally in like, an out of state type of hood with a rundown house.
Hmm.
So I was talking to my mom about it, and I was just like he really just never finds an issue living like that. Like he doesn't go like, I can make it better. Like he's just so hardcore. Like, I've told you, like I've lived in many different projects and stuff like that. And he just like, that's where he thrives at almost. He's almost like, these are my people. Like I gotta be around these motherfuckers.
Bro, like I get it.
Hmm.
Like that's what bro. When I talk about like, I wish I was in a more harsh environment growing up, if that made sense. If that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I like people who fucking like this is extreme. But you ever see like the Dagestan fighters? Like they grow up
Yeah.
training to
Yeah.
get. I don't mean that extreme, but shit like that, bro. It's like masculine, like camaraderie. Like I never had that ever,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. So it's just like it's just dope, you know. Like I don't hate it because I'm glad of who I am,
uh
but I hate that I had to teach myself how to act.
I get that. I get that.
That's what it is.
I get that. You know what? That's like a definitely a hindsight is 2020 thing, because when you're a kid, it fucking sucks,
Yeah.
because like, one, I don't know, well, obviously I don't think you've ever experienced this, but like one big thing, or a couple big things that were really like, important in my life then was I would never invite anybody over to the places that I would live. Like I would always have to meet somebody at the park, but I would never be able to invite somebody to my house because it was just like it wasn't a place that you wanted to bring somebody to. You didn't want to bring that to light because it's just kind of it's embarrassing as a kid, right? That's one thing. And the second thing is, of course, like the big thing as a kid is fucking like Christmas and holidays and
Yeah.
vacations, right? A lot of kids they would like get shit for Christmas or they would go on vacation. Like we went to Italy for a vacation or we went to, Jamaica or whatever. I'm like, I have been to Maryland before, or for Christmas, I was like, yeah, like my dad, he got me like a pair of fake Jordans, like the
Yeah.
flights. Like
Yeah.
he got me the
They're
flights.
like putting the ball between his leg. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
bro.
got me the flights from fucking the Nike outlet or whatever with the open box, and he's like, "Here, it's for Christmas," and like shit like that. Where I would see what's that fucking kid's name? I remember this vividly from North Bab was Billy
Oh,
yeah,
Gower.
yeah, him.
Yeah.
I remember watching like his Snapchat story. He got like mad shit, and I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like, I got a pair of socks and a pair of like shitty LeBrons, maybe.
Yeah, bro. But like at the end of the day, though, because it is hindsight,
Uh,
I would never want to be them.
oh yeah, never, never, never. But
Like,
still, like as a kid, that shit is important to you.
yeah, I know, bro. I feel you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like even I can't remember if I got made fun of in North Bab about it, but definitely a little bit in North Bab, but definitely in my old school. I went to school in Freeport for a year. Um, it was like when joggers first started becoming a thing and they were popular. And so my mom, she didn't want to buy me any. So I took my savings and I basically bought like 3 pairs of joggers and everything else that I had were like, whack ass, just straight cut blue jeans or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to wear this shit no more. So with the joggers, I would literally wear the same 3 pair of joggers every single day for all of 6th grade and 7th grade. And people would catch on to it and they would make fun of me like crazy. And like, of course, it's like stupid shit. It's like, okay, like
It's just
you
part of
fucking,
growing up,
yeah,
bro.
it's a
Whatever.
part of growing up. But it's like, you see the fucking cool kid that sort of looks like you and gets all the bitches. And it's like, why does he get all the bitches and I get none? Like, I don't get shit. Like, he's fucking swimming in coochie. He,
Yeah,
in fucking 6th grade. It's crazy.
bro. Like when I have kids, like I'm gonna make sure they understand. Like if someone is making fun of you for the fucking clothes you wear, like they're just fags, you know? Like
Yeah.
obviously if you're dressed like a fucking carrot or some weird shit,
Yeah.
like someone's gonna say something to you, you know what I mean? But like if you actually take shit personal, like bro, I walk around in like a wife beater and sweatpants now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
It's also who's wearing it. Like
True.
you can pull shit off when you're attractive, you know?
Hmm. I
Like I feel
mean,
like all
you
that
kind of get to
hype,
do whatever you want.
you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
All that hypey shit, bro, like not saying like you can't wear it, but if you're like fat or out of shape and you're not attractive and you're wearing hypebeast, I just
Yeah.
you like it doesn't do anything for you. You know what I mean? Like I'll pull up on you and your fucking girlfriend and like sweatpants and a t-shirt and
Hmm.
she'll look at me before she looks at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? I think I gained that sort of confidence still sort of in high school, but mostly outside of high school when even right now actually. I don't know if you recognize this shirt, but I've been wearing this shirt since like fucking 10th grade or whatever.
Not at all. But it low key looks like my shirt.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but yeah, I've been
Yeah.
wearing this fucking shirt from 10th grade. It's from Target. I think I
Is that
cost like
Guns N' Roses?
yeah, yeah. I got
Oh
I got the
shit.
shirt from Target for like $6 maybe, like in 10th grade.
Yeah.
Um, but like one thing that definitely changed that sort of outlook with that was just you know, that summer after high school and even like the summer following that one, just how crazy we were going. And like, bro, I haven't went to a barber since fucking prom. I haven't gone to a barber and sat in a barber's chair since prom. I do my own shitty haircuts where I just cut down the sides. I fucking wear the same clothes. You already know, bro. And it has
Yeah.
never stopped the flow ever.
I don't like shop for clothes. Like
Yeah,
whatever I
no.
got accumulated over the years, like this is what it is. Like
Yeah.
I get haircuts because I fucking have to. Like I'm a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like my hair grows way too fast, and I'm like white, bro. I can't like just let this shit fucking
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna look homeless.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'll spend money on. Because also, bro, like if your face is fucking like you have a good haircut, you could wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We totally went off topic, but like
So
I feel
fucking
like,
off topic. Yeah, bro.
I feel like it's worth it though.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll wrap it up though. Never let your master know you're better than them. That's what you just learned from that 50-minute video.
Yeah, of randomness.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Till next episode, Wildline Podcast.
Yes, sir.
We out.